I went no contact after my sister-in-law told my daughter, "Your real family doesn't want you." My husband said, "She meant it differently." I cut them off. Then, on my son's birthday, a package arrived, and what was inside made my hands shake. I've never written one of these before, but I need to get this out. I'm 43 years old. I live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and until last year I thought I had a good grip on what family meant. My name is Danielle. I've been married to my husband, Marcus, for almost 17 years. We have 2 kids, our daughter, Tessa, 14, and our son, Jacob, 10. Tessa came into our lives through adoption when she was 5. She'd been through more than most people experience in a lifetime, and we promised her, in every way, that she was ours. Fully. No asterisk. My husband's family was always a little much. Loud. Traditional. And they had a way of acting like adoption was fine, but still different. You know what I mean? Like Tessa wasn't quite the same as Jacob, because I didn't birth her. But I pushed back. Every time. And Marcus? He'd always say the right thing. Of course, she's our daughter. She's our firstborn. That kind of stuff. But over the years, I noticed something in his sister, Amanda. She's 2 years older than me. She's got 2 girls of her own and a husband who mostly sits in silence at family functions. Amanda's one of those people who smiles while cutting you open with her words. So where's Tessa's real mom now? Do you ever wonder what she'll be like when she finds her real family? I used to shut her down. Politely. Firmly. And when she pushed, I'd steer Tessa away. But last November, everything changed. We were at Marcus's parents' house for an early Thanksgiving. The usual chaos. Overcooked turkey. Too many people crammed into too small a house. And Amanda making herself the center of everything. I went into the kitchen to help my mother-in-law. I was only gone for 10 minutes. When I came back into the living room, I saw Tessa sitting alone on the stairs, knees pulled to her chest, tears running down her face. My heart stopped. I sat down beside her and asked, "Honey, what happened?" She wouldn't look at me, just whispered. And Amanda said, "She said my real family didn't want me. That's why I ended up here." I froze. I walked straight into the kitchen and told Marcus, in front of everyone, "We're leaving." Amanda was at the sink, sipping wine like she hadn't just shattered my daughter. I told her, "What the hell did you say to Tessa?" She laughed. "Oh, Danielle, don't be dramatic. I was trying to explain how adoption works. I meant it kindly." She misunderstood. I will never forget how Marcus just stood there, didn't look at Amanda, didn't come to Tessa. He just said, "I'm sure she meant it differently." I lost it. You don't tell a 14-year-old child that she was unwanted. That's not meaning it differently. That's cruelty. Amanda rolled her eyes. Marcus said nothing. We left. I didn't speak to his family after that. At all. I blocked every number. I stopped going to family events. I told Marcus he could see them if he wanted, but the kids and I were done. He didn't like it. We started fighting a lot. He said I was overreacting, making things bigger than they were. That Amanda's heart is in the right place. That I needed to move past it for the sake of family. I told him, "My daughter is my family." He slept on the couch that night. The silence between us grew. He started going out more, coming home later, but I didn't care. I was focused on protecting my kids. Tessa became quiet again. It took months to rebuild her trust in us, in her place in our family. Then came Jacob's birthday in June. We were keeping things small, just a few friends from school, cake, gifts, nothing big. That morning, a brown package showed up at the front door. No return address. It was addressed to Jacob, in handwriting I didn't recognize. I didn't think much of it. Sometimes kids' parents send gifts if they can't make it. But when he opened it, my hands started to shake. Inside was a brand new Xbox controller, a gift card to GameStop, and a handwritten card. It read, "Happy birthday, Jacob. We hope you enjoy this. Wish we could be there to celebrate with our real grandson. Love, Grandma and Grandpa." I took the card and read it twice. Our real grandson. The kind of words that cut with precision. Tessa was standing nearby. I looked at her. She didn't say anything, but her face crumbled. Like all the work we'd done to build her back up had just cracked. I turned to Marcus, who had just come downstairs. I showed him the card. He stared at it, silent for a moment, then said, "They were just trying to make a point, probably reacting to how you cut them off. They're hurting too." That was it. That was the moment something inside me flipped. I packed a bag, took the kids, went to my sister's house. I told Marcus, "You made your choice. Don't come looking for us." And for the first time, he didn't fight me. But that wasn't the end. Because revenge, real revenge, isn't just leaving. It's watching them deal with what they destroyed. Slowly, piece by piece. And trust me, I made sure of that. We stayed at my sister Caroline's house for nearly 2 months. She has a small place outside Des Moines, but she made room for us. Caroline's always been the quiet one in the family. But when she heard what Amanda and Marcus's parents did, she didn't hesitate. She said, "You're not going back to that. Not after what they did to Tessa." The first few days were hard. Tessa barely talked. Jacob asked every night when we were going home. I told them, "This is our home for now. We're safe here." I was still working remotely. So I set up a desk in Caroline's spare room, got the kids into a summer program nearby, tried to build something stable. Caroline's husband, Dean, helped too. He even bought Tessa a used bike when he noticed hers was too small. I texted Marcus the first week, told him the kids were okay. That was it. His reply, just one line. "You're breaking this family apart over a misunderstanding." I didn't respond, but then I got a call. From the school counselor. She said, "Danielle, there was a meeting request from your husband. He wants access to Jacob and Tessa's records." I felt like the air left my chest. I asked her, "Did he say why?" She said, "He just said he's asserting parental rights, but he didn't mention your current situation. Should we be aware of something?" I realized then, Marcus was preparing for a fight. A legal one. Caroline helped me find a lawyer. A good one. We filed for a temporary custody arrangement. I had all the texts, the card, witnesses, the therapist's statement about Tessa's trauma. It wasn't a full custody case yet, but the court granted me full decision-making while we sorted things out. That pissed Marcus off. He showed up at Caroline's house 2 days later. Didn't even knock. Just stood outside until Dean went out. I heard shouting. Ran outside. Marcus looked rough. Like he hadn't slept. But his eyes were cold. Mean. "You're turning my kids against me," he said. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "You let your family destroy Tessa's trust, and you stood by them." He pointed at me. "You're blowing this up. You always had it out for Amanda. This is what you wanted." I didn't answer. I just turned and walked back inside. 2 weeks later, I got an email from Tessa's old friend's mom. She said, "Hey, I thought you should know. I saw Amanda at the grocery store. She was telling someone you were mentally unstable, that you took the kids and ran, that you were probably going to lose custody." I sat down, hands shaking. Amanda was building a narrative, one where I was the problem. I told my lawyer. He said, "If she starts contacting people tied to your case, we can act. But for now, document everything." So I did. Every email, every text. I even recorded a phone call when Amanda tried to reach out. "Fake sweet," she said. "I'm worried about the kids, Danielle. We all are. They need their family. Tessa's old enough to know where she came from." I stayed quiet. Let her talk. Then she slipped. She said, "Marcus is trying so hard to keep things together, but you're poisoning them against us. It's not right. You know what adopted kids turn into without a firm hand." That was enough. My lawyer used the recording in our petition for full custody. The judge listened. He didn't say much, but he nodded slowly when the card was entered into evidence. When Tessa's therapist testified, when Caroline described the night we arrived at her door, Marcus didn't even speak in court. The judge said, "Children need emotional safety as much as physical, and when a parent fails to protect that safety, the court has to intervene." I was granted full custody. Marcus was given supervised visitation, with weekly therapy sessions required. Amanda and the rest of his family were barred from any contact, but the damage was done to all of us, especially Tessa. One night, weeks after the court ruling, she knocked on my door, said, "Can I sleep in here tonight?" I said of course. She crawled into bed beside me and whispered, "Do you think they ever really wanted me?" I had to swallow the lump in my throat before I could answer. "They didn't deserve you. That's the truth. But we did. We always did." She fell asleep holding my hand, and I realized something. I had pulled us out. But I wasn't done yet, because Marcus still had his job, his friends, his image. And Amanda, she was still walking around town, telling her version. They thought I'd stay quiet now that I had custody. They were wrong. After the custody ruling, I thought maybe Marcus would back off. I was wrong. 3 weeks after the court decision, I got a message from Jacob's teacher at his new school. She said, "Hey, I just wanted to check in. Your husband came by earlier asking about Jacob's progress. Said he wanted to sit in on class sometime." I felt my stomach twist. He wasn't allowed to do that. Not without court clearance and my written permission. I called my lawyer again. He reached out to the school with the court order, and they blocked Marcus from campus. But something had changed. He was getting reckless. The next weekend, Tessa and I went out to get groceries. We were in the frozen foods aisle when she froze. I looked over and saw Amanda, just standing there, holding a bag of peas, watching us. She smiled. Tessa turned around and walked straight out the store. I followed her. When we got home, she didn't talk, didn't eat dinner. She went straight to bed. I sat alone on the couch, rage burning in my chest. The next morning, I checked her phone. She deleted her social media accounts. All of them. I sat on the edge of her bed and asked, "What happened, baby?" She stared at the wall and said, she messaged me, "Amanda," on Snapchat, said I was turning into a liar, just like my first mom. That if I didn't stop lying about her, she'd show everyone who I really was. I felt something snap inside me. I told Caroline, "I'm done being quiet." We filed a restraining order that week against Amanda. I gave the court all the messages Tessa had saved. They were cruel, obsessive, borderline threatening. She had even messaged Tessa pictures from when she was little, from before we adopted her, ones I had never seen. I still don't know how Amanda got them. Maybe through Marcus. Maybe worse. Tessa started sleeping with the light on. I kept thinking, how far are they willing to go? Then I got the answer. Late one Thursday night, I was going through old emails when I saw a new one come in. No subject, just an attachment. It was a scanned document, a fake CPS report, filed anonymously. It said I was emotionally abusive, that I isolated the kids from their father, that I made up stories to control them. I broke into a cold sweat. The email address was fake, but my lawyer was able to trace the IP through a friend in IT. It came from Amanda's neighborhood, probably her house. That was it. I tried to do this the right way, the legal way, but they kept coming, kept trying to rip my family apart. So I fought back. I hired a private investigator, a retired cop named Wade. I gave him everything I had. I said, "I need proof, something that shows they're dangerous. I want them exposed." He got to work. 2 weeks later, he came back with gold. Amanda had been fired from her job at a dental clinic for privacy violations. She'd accessed patient files she wasn't supposed to, including one for a woman named Dana Holt. Dana had a son who had been in the foster system briefly, same age range as Tessa. Amanda had reached out to this woman, posed as a school counselor, and requested photos for a school project. She used those photos to scare Tessa. Wade handed me everything: emails, call logs, even a voicemail Amanda left for someone saying, "She doesn't deserve that girl. She never did." I knew what to do. I sent everything to my lawyer, but I also sent it to Marcus's employer. He was a manager at a public relations firm downtown, a family-focused brand. I made sure they saw the full picture. His silence, his part in covering for Amanda, the way he let her harass a minor. His minor. 3 days later, Marcus was fired. And the cherry on top, a local parenting podcast picked up the story anonymously. They blurred names, but the details were clear. Adoptive mother fights to protect daughter from in-laws' psychological abuse. It made rounds on Facebook. People started guessing, connecting dots. Amanda's church found out. She was removed from her position on the women's board. Her husband left her 2 months later. Marcus moved into a one-bedroom apartment near downtown. He tried to reach out, sent flowers, wrote letters, even begged Caroline to help me fix things. She told him to go to hell. But even after all that, it didn't feel over. Because Tessa still jumped when the doorbell rang. Because Jacob still asked, "Will Daddy come back home?" Because there were scars you couldn't see. So I planned something more. Something final. But I had to be careful. Because revenge, real revenge, it's slow and clean, and it leaves nothing left for them to hide behind. It was Jacob's 11th birthday when I decided to end it all, for good. The year had been long. Tessa was back in therapy, this time with someone who specialized in trauma from emotional abuse. Jacob had adjusted to our new life, but he still asked questions about Marcus. I didn't lie. I said, "Your dad made choices that hurt us. He didn't protect your sister. And when someone shows you who they are, you believe them." I knew that wouldn't satisfy him forever. The real punishment wasn't just in taking custody or getting Amanda kicked off her church board. That was just the start. The real pain, the kind that lasts, is when your lies take everything from you and leave you standing alone in the ashes. And that's exactly what I made sure happened. I knew Marcus still talked to Amanda. Despite the restraining order, I caught him texting her through WhatsApp using a fake name. How do I know? Because I put a keystroke tracker on the old laptop he left behind. I saw everything. Messages like, "Don't worry, she's too emotional to follow through. Just keep pushing. Eventually, she'll break." It made me sick, but I saved them. Every last one. Then I filed for divorce. I did it quietly. Served him through my lawyer. No warning. No discussion. And I made sure everything was attached. The court orders, the screenshots, the messages to Tessa, the fake CPS report. Everything. When he was served, he texted me, "You're destroying this family over one comment." I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, I sent the same package of evidence to Amanda's ex-husband. Now living in a rental house across town. He had taken their daughters with him. I hadn't spoken to him since their divorce, but I wanted him to see the depth of what she'd done. Not just to me, but to Tessa, to a child. He sent me a short message. "I wish I'd known sooner. I'll make sure the girls stay far away from her." I heard Amanda had a breakdown after that. A real one. The kind that ends with police lights and a 72-hour psych hold. She was screaming about me, about Tessa, about the stolen family. Said I ruined her life, that I manipulated everyone. It was her pastor's wife who told Caroline. She can't even walk into the grocery store anymore. People turn their carts around when they see her. As for Marcus, his spiral was slower. He started showing up late to supervised visits with Jacob. Sometimes he didn't show at all. His therapist reported him for missing sessions. The court reduced his visitation to twice a month. He lost his condo, couldn't pay rent, moved in with a friend who later kicked him out after finding out about the fake CPS report. He texted Caroline once, "She's poisoned everyone. I lost everything because of her lies." She texted back, "No, you lost everything because of your silence." Tessa never asked about him again. Jacob stopped mentioning his dad by Christmas. And I got her house. Sold it. Bought a small place near Caroline. Quiet neighborhood. Fenced yard. Tessa has her own room, full of plants and books. Jacob's into chess now. He started a club at school. We have peace. Real peace. But the final revenge, the part that still makes me breathe a little deeper, came in March. I got a message on Facebook from a woman I didn't know. It said, "Hi Danielle. I was one of Amanda's co-workers at her last job. I just wanted you to know we found the blog. The one you wrote anonymously. We shared it." She was talking about the blog I started 6 months earlier. A quiet little site where I told Tessa's story. Not with names, but with truth. I share what it feels like to love a child who comes from pain. What it means when your own family becomes the threat. I posted every week. Quietly. No drama. It went viral. Parents from all over the country wrote in. Adoptive moms. Foster dads. Step siblings. Strangers who had been told, "You're not real family." The story caught fire. And somehow, everyone figured out who Amanda was. She tried to deny it. Claimed it was a smear campaign. Said she was being targeted by woke cancel culture. But no one believed her. Because screenshots don't lie. And neither do kids. Marcus moved out of Iowa that spring. I heard he's in Omaha now. Works part-time at a call center. Doesn't see anyone. Lives alone. Amanda still lives in Cedar Rapids. People cross the street when they see her. Her own daughters blocked her number. I don't celebrate any of this with joy. But I do sleep at night. And every night before bed, Tessa tells me, "Good night, Mom. I love you." No hesitation. No fear. Just truth. That's what they tried to steal. But I made sure they paid for it. Every day since,